indigenous in Australia, we're indigenous in Asia. So there's no dispute on that. But I think this Freedom Affair Agency, like Dr. Trudabel explaining,
It's going to be very important. Yeah.
yeah, it's an important piece that would distinguish who are the people who are from
Yeah, which
the
region of Africa you came from? Where were your descendants
no,
stolen from? You know,
not
where?
only that, the descendant of the slave, like people
Yes.
like me, Africans, we came here like yesterday or one or two ancestors. Do you see what I mean? But this reparation is mainly about African Americans who were slave or their ancestors were slave for generation.
Yes.
So, but for me, I believe by fixing that, that is the root. By fixing and repairing that, it's only not repairing African Americans, it only also repairing Africans.
And
Because
that's what
when the
Dr.
African Americans thrive, every black person thrives. So
Right.
just like every other community, if the Jewish or the white community or the Asian community are strong, when their people come from the Asia or from Israel, whatever it
They
is,
send it back
they,
home. Right.
also they have a strong community to thrive in. So right now, the most important thing is really fixing here what happened to the African Americans. They have not paid. That was actually due a long time ago when it comes to reparation. Everybody
Yes.
got paid except African American who actually built this country for free for 400 years.
But
So
we have some great news.
yeah, so passing this three,
Yes, SB 1331.
yeah, that's the beginning. So I just wanted you to talk about also, this is the big deal, which is the reparation and reparative
Justice
justice
Fund.
fund. That is important. So if you can talk about that too, because when we talk about reparation, it's really repairing what has been done to the black and the African American community for generation to generation. So we have to repair that. We don't need to repair the road. This is where we spend so much time, money, and funds repairing, what is already been built. But we need to repair the African Americans that been enslaved for 400 years.
Right on.
So that fund is going to help at least start that fund to repair what has been done to the African Americans. So if you can just elaborate on number two, the SB 1331, through the bill. I think probably, are you there, through the bill? I think probably the internet probably and her phone was disconnected. So maybe you can just invite her again. Yeah, that's so.
We're
I
live,
think,
guys. So thank you for
anyway,
your
so
support.
to talk about that,
Yeah, let me touch on that a little
number
bit.
two,
Because
that's
we were there.
important. It is passed too.
We were there yesterday at the Senate gallery as they were passing these bills, and it was really emotional. I
Yeah.
recorded and trying. He eloquently spoke on how 1331 would not be injustice. It would not take away from anybody who should not pay for what happened to
Yes.
formerly enslaved Africans, especially these insurance companies that after 1776, and it was decided that slavery would no longer be in America, and in California being a free state, still had people with their slaves in our state. The insurance companies that were in that day, they say it was owned by Capital One, it was owned by Chase Bank, and these insurance companies were owned by Wells Fargo, that they actually continued to supply the slave masters with insurance policies for their employees. That was the name for slaves. And I've seen these policies with my own eyes, guys. I've read what it said that we were employees. Our descendants were employees, which means
Yes.
slave.
Mm.
And so the fact that these insurance companies defrauded the people, and put insurance policies on people that were against consumer rights and against it was pretty much consumer fraud.
Yeah.
It's like saying, hey, you can have an insurance policy on her because she's your employee, and if you beat her too much, you know, we won't do anything about it. But if you beat her to death, we won't pay you your policy. So it was like helping them not kill us, but almost leaving us to the point where we were lifeless.
Yeah.
So it's just so much convolutedness and so much sadness in our country that we have to do this for the soul and the karma of our country, for the soul and karma of each of us who are descendants of chattel slave, descendants of formerly enslaved Africans and indigenous people. Because let's be clear, in 1866, they had the Indian treaties. Now, the Indian treaties are very, very important.
Yeah.
Because slavery would not have been able to be perpetuated in this country had it not been for what they call the civilized Indians, which was the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Cherokee, the Seminole, and the Blackfoot. Okay. And a lot of us claim to be of that descendant. Okay. Because in 1619, they did a dirty deal with the Roman Catholic Church. They said Ham was the slave of all his brothers, and that's what justified them enslaving the darker race.
Yeah, they used the Bible.
And it's true. And it's just not true. You know, no God is going to listen to a drunk man cursing his father and say, oh, we're going to do this for the rest of this entire time everybody's on this planet. That's just, we know in the Bible it says too many places God is light.
But what it was is that everything was used to justify
the hate and the slavery
because they don't feel guilty. But the Bible never said that. And the Bible was written by the Africans, by the Ethiopians, by the Black people. So that was even taken and being used against our own Black people.
Because it's not in our DNA code to be hateful. It's not in our DNA code to like just want to destroy everything that you put your hands on. I'm telling you, it's not. I'm African.
Right. They use the book of Ephesians 6 verse 5-9, where it says, slaves, obey your masters. This was utilized particularly. This is what they tried to instill with Nat Turner to teach the other slaves as well at the time. But we all know Nat Turner eventually turned the other way and started revolting. So this is perfect example of why religion to utilize and keep us in bondage is something that's against all that God has created us to do. So I'm really grateful that you're even having this podcast and discussion. So I look forward to sharing some more information on
Dr.
bills.
Sorry, about the three as well. That's important. So I wanted to understand a little bit what that is, the SB 1050 as well, returning the property that been taken. So if you can just elaborate on that too.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yes.
Yeah. So Senate Bill 1050. This was the American Freedmen's Agency, but one of the things that established it was an equity commission. So you want to talk about 1050? That's the Racial Equity Commission.
Yes.
Okay.
They returned the property that never, they passed 3 bills. So one of the other bill they passed is to return the
property from eminent domain. Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll be Senate Bill, I believe 1331.
Yeah, 1331.
No, 1331 is reparative justice, and that was what we were talking about, where they're going to have a fund where they actually will be given free education, and that's why I was kind of touching on the 1866 Indian treaties. Because they were in the treaty, it said, look, the soldiers that helped win the Civil War, which were the British, the French, and the free slaves, they went and had to tell these civilized Indian tribes, look, you can't have slaves anymore. Because before, they were hunting, the white man and the Indian were at war with each other. But the white man knew we can't keep slavery because our slaves are running off and they're being with the Indians. There's already a group of Black Indians here, so if we can get them to turn on each other, and we'll pay them, and we'll give you allotted land to keep your space. If you help us catch these niggas, if you help us keep Blacks in slavery, and you get you some slaves too, and we'll give you food, we'll give you clothes, we'll help you civilize and build your houses like ours. And the Indians at first was like, you can't build no house, we got to travel around, don't you know, the wind to come knock everything down, to this or that. But they became civilized, and as time went on, the war came, and the Indians helped fight with the South to keep us in slavery. But we won. Yeah, but when we won the Civil War, the different soldiers went out to the Indian territories and told them, hey, look, and this is from Dr. Claude Anderson that I'm getting this knowledge too. It was the best slaves. You guys got to give the slaves $150, and in that time that was like $150,000 because everything was in gold. Okay, you have to give them 160 acres, not 40 acres, 160 acres. You got to give them all the status of the Indian tribe that they want to be a tribeman. They can be tribemans because most of them really were. And if any Blacks are found in your territory, you have to give them status as an Indian if they want to. No taxes. But the most important is 160 acres, guys.
Yeah.
So over time, after World War I, they tried to wipe out all the treaties, which is illegal. A treaty is a treaty, and a debt is a debt. And they said, well, if you now make Indian blood as sacred as Jesus' blood and determine if any African Americans have 1/16 of Indian blood in them, then they can get all those benefits and resources. But I'm telling you guys, this Senate Bill 1331, if I got anything to do with it, and I'm going to call on Dr. Claude Anderson too, because I know he'll have my back. Because we've been waiting for this moment in history. We've been waiting for the stars and the moon to align for this very time and time. Okay. And that's what Reparative Justice Fund is about. It's taking all these different stories the AB 3121 committee put together and say, look, we got the proof, we got the pudding, and we got the receipts.
Yeah, and we need the fund to repair
Pay the debt. Exactly.
That's right.
Pay the debt.
Yeah.
So the heirs property
is the heirs.
Yeah, Senate Bill 1050. So to remove, to return the eminent domain primarily. So redlining has been a legal measure for us, especially descendant slave, not to have or live near or conduct properties, which is why the projects were created based on eminent domain. And so, for example, the Bruce family, the Bruce Beach family, that's one of the most popular families that had their property, Charles Bruce and Manhattan Beach, returned back to them. And that's also with the help of Reginald Jones Sawyer and Senator Bradford. But they returned it back to the county. So we don't want to do that, family. When you get your property back, keep it in your family, because land is one of the most valuable points of restitution, of repair. You can always increase the value of your land on top of cash value, but land is primary. It's primary. So Senate Bill 1050.
Yeah, like you were saying, land is the most important right now. When we're looking at the statistics, how much African American owns their land and their home is heartbreaking. Even though African American been here for 400 years, you know, the ownership is like 2, 3, 4% is on the bottom of when you compare to every ethnic group, from the white, from the every other group, we like on the bottom. So imagine if they had more that 4 acre or 160
40
acre,
acres or
40
160 acres.
I think would have generated
Or
for their
even
kids and
kept
kids.
their land. A lot of people did buy and have property, and they had the fire departments come in and burn on their land and burn down their property so that the county could take it over. They had what we saw in Oklahoma. There were several. Yeah, there were several Black Wall Streets throughout this nation. It wasn't just only in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but that was the most atrocious because our own government dropped the bomb on the people.
Yeah.
And then not only that, Senator so eloquently spoke on how he had a LA Philharmonic Orchestra professor or musician who was his music professor. And they came in and took his home, took the professors or the music teachers home and barely gave them anything. It wasn't fair market value.
Yeah.
For 30 years, that man had to walk past and see his home, his land sit vacant until they decided to build the 205 freeway. 30 years.
Yeah.
He could have been living, growing. It's just really sad. I sometimes I lose words to say because I get very upset. But I know that what we have overcome in reading these three bills, SB 1331, SB 1403 and 1050 is the mighty movement that we need to restore our people.
Yes.
It's the time. And I'm so proud of you, True, because you were out there on the front lines. Please tell us about Washington, D.C., sis.
Woo, child. What can I tell you about it? It is so amazing. So we just finished a National Reparations Convention. It was held and sponsored by the Afro-Descendant Nation. So those who may not know who they are a group that started back in the 60s. Silas Muhammad and his wife, who's actually an attorney, Queen Mother Abu Bakr. They have presented to the UN the Afro-Descendant Nation as a alternative racial construct nation to represent Black folks. And so same things with the Moors. I'm actually a Moor, even though I'm Haitian. The descendants of slavery, it has different components to it. So Afro-Descendant Nation decided this is, I believe, the first annual National Reparations Convention, where we have groups such as the Reparations Liberation League, UNIA, Black Justice of America. You have some people from NAN as well. And it was just a great event where we were at the Lincoln Temple. It was a historic location in Washington, D.C., 11th Northwest and Avenue R. And a lot of these constructs in D.C., this is the nation's capital now, family, and a lot of them were built by our hands, including the White House. Mm-hmm. And so this is all where it calls for accountability. And so Cornel West, who's running for presidential candidate for a party called Justice for All, independent party, which we are supporting, and he has taken the first Muslim woman. Her name is Melina Abdullah, who is the lead of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. And so as a vice president running candidate. And Cornel West is the only politician that is focusing on reparations as a forefront. And this is why we want to support the candidates, only support those who are supporting us. This is a time right now. And so even though he's only in 6 states, as an independent party, we can always upset the status quo. And if we have someone as visible as Cornel West, who has been a scholar in California, been working in the sector of the political realm for the last 4 decades, but now putting forth a presidential candidate is something that was a natural fit starting from last year. I believe it started with the Green Party, Bernie Sanders, but that didn't end well because Bernie Sanders did not ultimately support reparations. And so now that we have a candidate that does, it was so awesome to see him really discuss the tactics. And one of the tactics is the boycott. The reparations boycott, where we are holding the banks accountable. So Wells Fargo, particularly Capital One, we started off last week with Capital One. just letting people know, bringing awareness of the involvement of these banks in chattel slavery. And because I'm Haitian descent, as a chattel slave descendant as well, it's personal that I see, especially banks like Chase Bank, who openly engaged in chattel slavery. That's how old it was. Some of the banks may not have directly engaged, but they did take part some way, somehow, in creating their wealth off of slavery. But Chase Bank actually was the only bank that involved itself in purchasing and selling of slaves. So if you are a Black person and have a Chase Bank account, I suggest you really, guys, you really take your money out of that bank. Take your money out of that bank. This is the call to action that we're requesting. Working with the National Black Lawyers Association, spearheaded by Malik Shulu Shabazz, who has been very instrumental in fighting for Black issues. The last was the Mississippi incident with the two young men that was assaulted by the police that got 132 years for their mistreatment of Michael and I believe Jonathan, these two brothers that were assaulted by Mississippi police. So we have a great group of people that now we have to come together, have unified body of one voice to really not only hold the banks accountable, but at the same token for our families to trace their lineage, to do their due diligence. Because reparations right now is not a myth. It's not a myth. This is real time effort of restitution that is going to come to fruition, and we better be ready for it. So I'm so grateful to be part of the movement at this time. It's crucial for us to execute that. And so we look forward to October to return back in DC for an update of the reparations convention that we had in May 17th to the 21st.
So we just had an update. People are asking for us to repeat the Senate bills that got passed yesterday, a historic day for California. It was Senate Bill 1403. This is for the Freedom
Affairs Agency,
the Freedmen's Bureau, guide, the Freedmen's Affairs Agency. And this agency is going to be responsible for putting together the programs that the AB 3121 committee has done extensive research, 1,100-page report. There's 12 things that are actually due, that the UN, United Nations, the Catholic churches, everybody is on board to right the wrong.
Yes.
Then we have SB 1331. Come on, say it with me, sis. I love when we say it together. Let's read it. The
SB 1331.
Justice Fund, the Reparations and Reparative Justice Fund, guys. And then we have Bill 1050, which is the
returning property that been taken under eminent
domain and under force of fist. I mean,
you must say racially motivated eminent domain. That's
motivated. The most important part. And not only that, as True Bay was touching on, the private entities that have defrauded the people and kept and perpetuated the discrimination, the redlining. This is coming out.
On and on.
Yes.
And the other thing I want to add, what Dr. Trudebel was saying when it comes to really picking who's going to be your president. And honestly, if they don't put that reparation bill in the front, I mean, why is Black people voting for what?
Right.
We have to have something on the table. I mean, people die to have the to vote. Do you see what I mean? So if our people, Black people or African American Black people, we need to have something on the table. So whoever have that reparation on the table, that we should be voting. Otherwise, if these people, they keep on giving us excuses every election, they actually create a policy every 4 years to make money off Black people from prison, from this, from that. So it's just got to stop. And Black people should really not vote for nobody if they don't see nothing on the table. I mean, why are we voting if we don't have no Look at our community, our Black community. We don't have proper school. We don't have nutrition. I mean, from access to water, access to nutrition, access to healthcare, access to education, access to good job opportunity or business. I mean, the government is not really investing in the Black community that built this country. So if the all this
Biden, he passed a bill called 13985. And this bill was for underserved communities and to get funding to build their communities up. Yeah. And I've known about this bill thanks to Truth Bay inviting me to one of the Black Power radio talks. And there was a wonderful man on there, Dr. Daniels, who happened to be the chairman of the Friends of the African Nation. This brother is so powerful. He does a lot in the UN. And he brought these bills, these executive orders, meaning like this is the law. Yeah. This is an executive order. Like, you people, we need to step up. And I implore everybody to read that you can just Google Executive Order 13985. Read it. We got to put pen to paper to get these things that have been already set up for us. It's just like the knowledge is not there. That's why Zion Utopia Media has anointed DJ Double O to be here co-hosting every week. You guys want to get tidbits of knowledge from us so that we can come together. Yes. We have a wonderful Juneteenth program set up here in Sacramento. You want to tell them about that, sis?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we can talk about right now. We're really talking about the reparation at the city level, reparation at state level. We've been talking about the state level, and through the bell, she's been talking about the reparations at the federal level. So right now, we are in Sacramento. So we are more,
the nation's capital.
Yeah, we have to start right here. So the mayor's office initiated this. So I have to give him credit because this is amazing. So we trying to reach out to all the African Americans to do a survey. What really means reparation to them? Do they want, what is it they would like to see? Land, healthcare, education, or good job opportunity, or businesses. So what we're doing is we have a few different events from starting today at 6:30 at the African market, and talking about, discussing about reparation, what it means for especially local level, and also on Saturday, and also June 29th. So it's really important. Honestly, I don't know how to say it. It is important. Every Black person, not just African American, every Black person needs to get involved in this. So to be given what has been past due. It was due actually a long time ago. So we want people to get involved, and the city mayor initiated this. So we are 5-6 a group of us to try to outreach when it comes to reparation. That's what we're doing. So please, even here at the local level, get involved so we can actually keep this momentum going. Because this is only 3 bills. We have 14 bills that really helps the community really thrive, because without that, we've been oppressed, like, we can't even breathe. That's how I feel, especially when it comes to being Black and small business and, living here in the United States. I get affected too. You see what I mean? That's why it's important that we all have to put that
people. Yes.
And this is something that not just for us, for our kids and kids and kids to come. Generational wealth that's been taken away. Remember when they were trying to give 40 acre a mule, they gave it to the European that came that time. And instead of giving it to the Black people who paid for it. The same thing, civil rights movement. Even though it was done civil rights movement, but there were no reparation. But we did not benefit of it. Who benefit of it, in fact, is the white women who benefit of civil rights movement. Right now, 45% of business owned by white women, where we have only 1%, 1 to 3% Black women business owned. So when you see the generational wealth gap, what even a civil rights movement did not help our Black community. In fact, it helped other communities. And in the name of underserved, underrepresented community, which is totally a different community like me, they put the African American with the underserved, underrepresented community. Do you see what I mean? So yeah,
any and everybody, even LGBTQ is the underprivileged and underserved community. So it's like it's still taken away from us. So this Freedmen's Affair Bureau is so important. Specific. Yes, because now it's going to be specifically for our culture coming together, our rights, our true repair and redress.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. And I did want to reiterate that even though Executive Order 13985, it did specific racial injustice and equality, it really wasn't geared towards Blacks. It was geared towards everyone else, focusing on Indians. But one bill that I do want us to really look at is the apology in the House Resolution 194. House Resolution 194.
985 is for us too. It's just we need to we are still an underserved community.
Correct. But when you add the problem with that is when you add others, as you just expressed, others will get it before us. Why do you think that we need something exclusively for us?
We can get it, but I understand what you're saying. That's why this is.
So House Resolution 194 is the basis of why we need to advance reparations. So just quickly, I'm not going to go into the whole bill because it is a long bill, but in short, it's just an apology for all of the wrongs that was done during, specifically, it's like the opening says, whereas millions of Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States and the 13 American colonies from 1619 to 1865. Whereas slavery in America resembled no other form of involuntary servitude in history, as Africans were captured and sold at auction like the inanimate objects or animals. This is the opening of House Resolution 194. So if anything, the reparations that we're working towards now should be based on this acknowledgement from the United States of the harms that they know that they accomplished. And it's a beautiful 3 to 4 page resolution. So I just wanted to put that out there for us to refer to House Resolution 194 as a basis of why reparations should have been given a long time ago.
Absolutely.
That's 194, guys. House Resolution 194.
Don't be in denial. I mean, people are in denial, but that's why we don't accept what has been done. I mean, you can go to the history. I don't have to explain to people the basic things that what has been done to the African. Look at America right now, benefiting the whole world except Africa and African American. But who paid for it? Our Black people paid for it. So and they also made sure that we don't ask money for Black people. They put it in the law. Yes. I mean, I don't even know how that is even possible. They like you can't ask for specifically for Black kids who's been here, their ancestors paid for it for generations. And when we're trying to say, okay, why not? This is underserved Black community. Let's ask for money for that. We can't even do, because they created a law that we can't even say Black. I mean, I don't even know how this system, because this is what is the epitome of systemic racism. When the racism is in the system, that is it's so hard. It's like
and that's what SB 1331 for for creating reparations and reparative justice.
And I just wanted to ask you also, like, they would apologize, but apologize is not enough. Like Bill Clinton apologized, but they're still functioning in the same law. What I don't understand is, it's good to apologize, but change the law that you created to put our kids to prison, to put our kids, so as soon as they are 8th grade, they already putting them in the pipeline, because prison is like it's unheard of. It's actually a profitable. So how do we let our this government system use our kids to make money, make profit of the people suffering? And that's our kids and kids, because they're vulnerable.
Yes,
to
and
make
Senator
mistakes.
Bradford is behind these bills that's going to stop all that. Everything you're talking about, and that's why it's so important, guys, to scan the survey that you see up above. Please put your interjections and your thoughts of what you would like to see for our community.
Yeah.
We definitely know that they are willing to give funding, but we have to have education. You can teach a man, you can give a man a fish, is what it says, but if you teach a man to fish,
he will
eat
for life.
Eat for life. So that's what I'm so thankful that Gavin Newsom is like, yeah, we want to give you money, but give us a program, give us something concrete that we can implement that will educate the people, as well as fund the people. So,
yeah, actually, the city program is a program. The reason why we're doing this outreach is really the city. What they're doing when it comes to the survey is creating a program specifically for the African American. I think this is why the task force is really important when it comes to the 14 SB, because we can create a specific task force for specific needs. Like they say, we need education, we need healthcare, we need
community building,
we need business funds,
we own our own
ownership.
hospitals, we own our own school institutions. That's what true community is. And the Black community, unfortunately, right now does not have any of that.
Yeah.
We have to be future thinkers. Like Kanye West said, think of the future, not the same old westernized capitalistic structure that's causing each one of us to live in scarcity when it is so much abundance. You can get water out the air, y'all. Yeah. No one should ever go first, you know? So we getting ready to wrap up, you guys.
Yes.
We really appreciate you being here and sharing Dr. Truth Bays, Truth, Zion, Utopia Media, and your co-host, Double O.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
And
we
make
want to
sure
shout out.
You show up tonight at 6:30 at African Market. Also Saturday from 1 to 2. And then we just hang out and eat, work afterwards.
The address is 2251 Florin Road. 2251 Florin Road here in Sacramento. Our event with the city mayor, Mayor Steinberg, will be June 29th.
But we're trying to get the mayors, the city mayor, also the potential mayors to be part
Present.
of that. So finger crossed, we'll have them there. So to explain what really reparation means at this city level. And we want to have you, Dr. Trudabelle, as well, if we can. If you're free,
I would love to be there.
We would love to have you that day.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, as our speaker, I got it written down here. We'll call you, sis, for the federal level.
Yes.
Speaking on the Senate bills that we just discussed at the federal level. And you did an eloquent job just now in informing us about Senate Bill
and then we're trying to bring Dr. Camila to when it comes to task force at the state level. And then we'll have hopefully the potential mayors on that day to talk about what it means to them when it comes to the city level, how they really can implement the programs, not accordingly the state or the city wants, accordingly the people want.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We need you guys, scan the survey that you see on the top.
And get involved.
We'll have it on our pages.
This is a victory. And, this is just the beginning. We're just going to keep it going and keep it going. We're not going to shut up. We're just going to keep on putting the words out there. But the more people get involved, the more the city or the state or even the federal level listen. Otherwise, if it's just people that's making noise, they're just not going to take us serious. So the more people make noise, the better.
Yes. And the more we all have. Thank you, guys. Stay tuned.
And we'll see you tonight. There's going to be food for 50 people or more if you make no time.
2251 Florin Road.
Yes.
Sacramento.
Saturday, we'll see you at the African Market too. And we appreciate you everyone for watching and listening. Just pay attention. Good things are coming in our way.
Right on.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everybody. We joined the live.
Keep up the good work.
Yes.
Yes.
We just started. That's right.
Yes.
Freedom or death. Freedom or death.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
That done too.